Hey guys, Mitch here with the TheAudioDabbler YouTube channel, and today I'm going to take a look at Quantiloop and just kind of how to get started with it. We will dive into this and get started. Let's see. Oops. I guess I had that overdubbing. A little too much overdubbing. Simple as that. A little loop going. So I just played messing around with the ukulele and just created a little loop, and now I'm going to kind of go through a few little settings that you may or may not be aware of, or just some things that will help you get started. And so first off, it's a 4-track looper with unlimited overdubs on each of the tracks that you want to do. And you can also add input effects and track effects. I was controlling with my FBV MK2 foot controller. I also have my Novation Launchpad Pro mapped to it as well, and it's all hooked up to a USB hub. The interface I'm using is the Behringer Uphoria UMC 404 HD Sennheiser microphone. Just some basic things to get started. To get inputs into it without going through everything, to get inputs you need to go down to the bottom to the little 1/4-inch jack icon, and that'll bring you to this screen. And from this screen you can add different scenes if you want. And let's do, I haven't done this, but let's just do test. Okay, then you got default and you got test. You've got test scenes, and then you can add in, say, if you have another physical input you want to go in, you go back to that input, so that one's gone, and say on this one you want to have, I think GeoShred's a little weird on here. I mean, you could do MV08 if you wanted to, and it's going to load up. Okay, so we can actually, let's just delete all that stuff, and then it was a little off, but my timing wasn't completely accurate on it, but it will do, if you have good timing, it will have good timing. So kind of the garbage in, garbage out. Can't always blame the app for our inability to make a perfect loop. Even however much we want to blame the app, it's our timing. And so there is definitely a technique in getting loops to be seamless. Start out small, work your way up, and practice. I would say I still have a lot of practicing to do. But anyway, so that's that. And then you have you can load up different scenes if you want to. Just like so. Inside the inputs, you can also have input effects. And so if you wanted to add some reverb to the input of this, when I turn this up, you'll hear some reverb going on. Also in this, if you don't want your vocals to be looped, then you can uncheck these, and that's corresponding with the 4 different tracks. And so no matter what I do, if I'm looping, I will only hear the input 1, which is the microphone, through the speakers, but it will not get looped. So I could have a guitar looping and singing, and it's only going to pick up the guitar. Or if I had another app, it's only going to pick that up. So that's really, really awesome to be able to do that. And it's just a simple click of a button. Outputs, as far as outputs go, you have a monitoring. You have your main output, which you can select. The Behringer has USB 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The monitor, you could select 3 and 4. And so say you wanted to monitor with your headphones with this right here, you can have the rhythm turned off. So if you had a metronome in your ear, you could be monitoring it while you're recording, depending on how your interface is and things like that, which is very, very helpful. You can also do individual outs for certain tracks, or you can have it pre or post fader, which is very handy for some things. Let's turn that reverb. So you'll notice right here that when I put that reverb in, it showed up down here. I like this little thing. It's the new update on the screen recorder. It's nice. And you can do that. So it can also do MIDI out. So if you want to send clock, if you have some external hardware or things and your interface and everything supports it, you can send the MIDI clock out to things, which is pretty cool. If you're into the hardware thing, I don't have any hardware, so and then MIDI input, that's key to this app. I think I have that FBV MK2, got it cheap at a used music store, and it just works. It's USB, bus powered, and I traded my my Behringer FBV or FCB 1010, the big honking giant of a MIDI controller. Awesome MIDI controller. I know how to customize it and I know how to program it, but it was just not functional because it required power and it required the old style MIDI DIN, which is great for a lot of things, but I just wasn't using it just because it was a hassle to just set up, and it wasn't portable and things like that. So this thing is awesome, and so I have it. So I would definitely recommend that. It works great with the iPad. Let's see. So as far as MIDI controlling this thing, you've got record, play, dub, track 1. How I have it set up right now is this has A, B, C, and D on the foot pedal. I'll show a picture. And I have each one of those corresponding to track 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so what that allows me to do is if I want to record something on track 1, I just hit A and B, C, and D, and that's how you can easily record. Now there's an option here called overdub or dub mode. When dub mode is on, when you click on a track, it'll start it if it's not started, but if I click on it again, what it's going to do is it's going to set it in dub mode, and it's going to be recording over. And you can hear it because I have my input set. It's going to continue to just record everything that I say, and that's how it does, but I also have this handy undo button over here on my Novation that I have mapped, and that is nice. So, but if dub mode is off, then when I click, it'll stop. And you can program the dub mode. So let's do that. So let's add a new assignment. Let's action, and let's go down and let's find dub mode. Okay, now we want to learn. Now what do we want to learn? Dub mode. Double sounds like dub, so I'm going to do the double on the Launchpad Pro, and now I can toggle dub mode right above the record button. Now I have the record button also mapped to record whatever the current controller is, or what the current track is, and I have those selected. So there's a whole bunch of customization you can do, so you're not necessarily limited. So the developer was wanting a RC505, and so he just made an app, which I think is pretty awesome. There's a lot of apps that I want, but when I start looking at code and how to program, it's just I don't know, it's a lot. I may eventually do it though. So you can add track effects if you want, which can be, it's got a looper bypass if you want to bypass the looper. If you can transpose, so if you wanted to target is track 1 and transpose it down, then it will go way down. So I could actually go and do a little bass line. So that's kind of fun. And you can always start and stop everything on screen, and the on screen is awesome. And you know, it could actually just set your I have that on and turn that down. If you have it set up, then you could actually use it as like a tabletop looper. Alright, so say you have a track that you recorded and you didn't record anything, you just want to delete the track and it's just playing or whatever. So if you double click the track number that you want and hold, double tap and hold, it will delete it. And if you find out any more information about things, there is a little user manual, and as you're going through, there's a little icon up there. So they've done a good job about that. You just have to actually, you know, kind of read things to find out things. So if you eject a thing, you can also have some hold track effects. And so if you wanted to have something like that going on, I can press play here. And have that going on. However you want to, you know, do some crazy stuff, like, you know, like they do with the RC505 and RC202. That's why I like having a MIDI controller, and I love the Novation Launchpad Pro because I have a delete button here. So I just labeled it delete, and now I can select loop 1, which I have these 4 buttons up at the top corresponding with tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4 to select them. So I can select that and delete, select, delete, select, delete, and then boom, they're deleted and all is good. So you'll notice the tempo up here. I'm just going to go over a few more things, and then I will just do more videos because there's just so much to this app. But under tempo, you can enable Ableton Link, which is awesome, but there's also force link tempo. And what that's going to do is if I set this tempo to something, and then then the rhythm or whatever you have going on that's listening to Ableton Link is all going to be forced to go to the tempo that I set. And then right beside it is the rhythm type. So it's got a standard metronome. If you have a Beat Buddy, which is a foot pedal, I'm not really for sure exactly what it'll do, but it will hook up to a Beat Buddy. And then you can do an instrument plug-in. You can do an audio unit, or you can do an app. And so let's do an app, and let's do Future Drummer just to have fun. You can have it auto start, stop, and all that good stuff if I want to. And then if I press start and if I hit rhythm, so there's Future Drummer going on, and it's separate from these tracks, and I can just hit Future Drummer and it will go on. Okay, so link is enabled. Okay, so if I turn the rhythm off and say I go back here and I play something else. Oops, I don't have my, let's delete that. Turn the volume up, tilt this down. Now the tempo is 101, I can start the rhythm. And you go to Future Drummer, you can see that it's changed to 101. So that's awesome for that. And you can turn the rhythm off if you want to. Now there's a whole bunch of different quantization options as far as how you want the loops to start and stop, and that would probably be better suited for a whole other video because that's just a lot. You have some setup things that you can do. You can have different banks of presets. So like I have 2 banks of presets, but you can have more than 2 banks, and then each of these have banks in them, so you can have a lot of little settings in here and little loops and a whole performance and pre-record things and just store things like crazy. Hopefully this at least gets you started on how to set everything up and just practice looping, and it's just so much fun once you get into it and you get a nice little setup going. I would recommend this FBV foot controller if you're doing any kind of looping with where you have both hands playing an instrument or something. You know, it definitely helps, and it definitely helps controlling it with a MIDI controller and not just trying to do everything with this. So leave a comment below on anything that you would like to see in the future as far as any in-depth tutorials on Quantiloop, and leave a like. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, then I have a Patreon account and a direct link to PayPal if you're into that kind of thing, and all the links are in the description, and I will talk to you guys later.